on internet. Let's go. Here we go. Okay. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the first episode of Breaking the Block. I have all my lovely co-hosts up here, and I am going to allow them to introduce themselves and what they do and all their books and all the things that they have going on. So let's start with Rach and then go to Lauren and Nicole and Mama Maggie and then Jenna and Skye.
Oh, okay. No pressure. No pressure. So I'm going crazy this summer and writing 2 books. I have two
We aren't
series.
live.
Uh-oh.
I didn't do it.
I see.
Okay,
us.
wait, it's catching up.
us.
It's catching up.
Okay.
I was like, oh, sorry, Rachel.
You're okay. I've got 2 series. It was originally a urban fantasy series, and it was about all sorts of different supernatural beings surrounding 2 main characters, 2 male main characters. But we decided to go backwards and write their backstories. And when we did that, people got interested in the backstories. So we decided to publish those too. So we have those 2 going on. I live in North Carolina too. So there's lots of authors out here, and we've been kind of getting together and talking and stuff online. So it's been loads of fun. Most of these ladies I met through AuthorTube. So that's been hilarious to finally meet people that are like you.
Yeah, it's fun getting to meet people from AuthorTube and live person. It's like, hey, you're a real person. Yeah, they are. So me and Nicole. Sorry, my phone is like beep. Of course, when I'm trying to speak. Me and Nicole write fantasy, paranormal romance, and poetry, and we publish 2 poetry collections. One is Ignited Melodies, and the other one is Shadow Abyss. And right now we are working through getting Hunted, the Immortal Kiss, which is our first urban fantasy book that we wrote together, being edited by Jenna to be republished probably sometime later this year. Nikki, you want to add anything? Go.
Also have our trophy page on and our website, Jenny Tales. And also working on book 2 for post collections and more anthology.
Hello, lovelies. I'm Mama Maggie Ward, coffee addict and migraine survivor. And this is just one of my series, the Relic of Time War series and the Huntsman of Dama's prequel set. I also have the Book of Elo trilogy out, 5 books of Pagosa Cliffs series out, and I am on currently been kind of on this forced sabbatical for the last 18 months with a migraine for my writing. So, but I am on the 8th medication and it seems to be working after 2 weeks. So fingers crossed I can get back to writing and publishing. I am hoping to get my Greek myth retelling, twisted Greek myth retelling called The Spartan Chimera, published by the end of this month.
Yay!
That's cool.
I think I remember you working on that. I'm apologizing in advance in case I'm having any and all audio issues in advance. Most of you know me. I'm Jenna O'Connell, your soul writer, author of sci-fi fantasy, such as The Myrna Annals, coming to Kickstarter in less than 30 days. Also, I kind of help other soul bards sit around and coach them through and edit them through exactly some of the things we're talking about today. So thank you for inviting me, Sam.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Skye. I'm a fantasy author who typically writes paranormal romance under the name SD Hegyes, and I'm working on a little bit of everything right now because I kind of decided not to pick a particular project and just jump around as the muse hits, basically. And where were all of you writers at when I was still living in North Carolina? I moved from North Carolina 3 years ago, and all of a sudden, everyone I hear is like, I'm in North Carolina.
Oh,
No.
Don't worry, I'm going to try to visit everyone I can next year when I'm down in North Carolina for my sister's wedding. So I'm like,
I was going to say,
making plans.
1/3 of the screens in North Carolina, and
Other
yeah,
half
I guess
is
if you
in,
count Lauren and Nicole as one screen, 1/3's in Maryland between the three of us. So
Great.
I'm the odd one out. Woo!
No, Skye, we're both in mountains. We're both in the mountain time zone.
There you
You're
go.
right. You're right.
Eva says, "Move back, Skye."
we have cookies.
Ooh.
Eva says that she's disappointed there's not enough fluff on the screen. But yeah, we are going to be talking about writer's block, or how maybe imposter syndrome affects writer's block and all of that stuff like that. So anybody up here on the screen having a moment of non-creativity, like they just can't get into it?
Me.
All right. So what do you think is the problem, just off the top of your head?
I think it's a couple of things. I think one, maybe poor time management. So working a regular job on top of having to find time for writing, and then just letting other life things get in the way. And then I wouldn't say being distracted, but sometimes I feel like burnt out, and I feel like there is time in the day that I could spend on writing, but then I just don't have the energy to do it.
Gotcha. I think Jenna and Rach and Mama Maggie, well, Skye too, are schedulers extraordinaire, better than I am. So, do y'all have any pointers as to like breaking down time block schedules to where creativity is at its top or peak?
I'm at a disadvantage in that I taught K-12 high school English for over 10 years. So my brain is designed to compartmentalize that way that other people's
Right.
might not be. Like I recently told someone I got paid to run book clubs for unwilling children for 10 plus years, basically. So that's being an English teacher nowadays. Oftentimes, what I suggest is find a system that works for you, whether it's HB90, check my affiliate links, enrollment now, or if it's anything, even if it's just something that you do a to-do list and you say, I have to do a minimum of X number. The human brain can normally handle 7 projects a day. Hint, hint. That's why most school days are 7 periods long. So maybe let that be your guide a little bit. If it worked once when you were younger, maybe it'll work again.
See, I have memory issues from my stroke. And so for me, scheduling is not only is it very difficult, but it's a thing that I have to do. But you add on top of that I'm also like OCD in a way that I have like OCD goal brain. So I have to finish. But the problem is if I get blocked on a project, it's like I'm headbutting something because I'm like, gotta finish. And for me, when I get stuck with writer's block, especially because of like my memory and focus issues, one of the things that I will do is, and it sounds counterintuitive to do this, is get completely off that task. Go write a flash fiction, go write a fan fiction, read a book, watch some Netflix. I'm not saying do this for days, but give yourself the permission to step away from a project that you have just hit the roadblock on. Another thing that has really helped me is I will skip past the block. This doesn't work for people who are like pantser writers or discovery writers where they're not writing in any kind of a structure. I am like superstructure person, world building, huge document person. And so I usually know what events are coming later in my book. So if I get blocked, I will skip over the event or interaction that is blocking me and move on to the next one. And if that doesn't work, I will go write some flash fiction or something. But it's okay to, if you get stuck in a place, to jump ahead to another place or to just walk away completely for a little while. There, these people who say, no, you've got to sit down and write the book all the way through. No. There is no one writing method, one scheduling method, one plotting, calendar, outlining, world building method. There is no such thing as one method. If someone is telling you that, they are trying to sell you something.
Agreed. I mean, there's been a lot of times where I get stuck and I will skip ahead, even as a plantser. What I do is we do the discovery writing up front. We've had these stories saved on Google and on Word for years, and we're going back through and we're plotting it into books instead of just episodes. So when it comes to that, it's like what Mama Maggie said, is like you just move ahead. Like I have a goal in mind for each book. So I go ahead from the spot that I'm stuck on. And I have the same situation wherein I want to finish it. Like it really is annoying for me. It bothers me. And then sometimes that will actually be a detriment to me because I can't move on. So I experienced this, I guess 2 weeks ago in a specific area of book 3. And I mean, it's already book 3 of 5. So it's the muddy middle anyway. So it's a difficult situation. And what happened was we went and we decided, you know what, we're going to go grocery shopping, but we're also going to go to the park. We're going to go to this place. We're going to go to that place. Got out. It was a nice day. So we had the windows down, we had the 80s channel on. We were just like rocking. And all of a sudden I got an idea, and it's like, oh, this is the first time I've gotten a eureka moment for this book in 2 months. So it was just getting away from the actual project itself to do something completely different. And that's when it hit me.
Skye, did you want to say something?
Yeah. So I agree with both those terms. I'm lucky in the fact that I work in a job position where I'm not like mentally occupied. So I get to spend a lot of time just thinking about various things, which is extremely helpful in a lot of ways, because when you're physically active doing something else, like Mama Maggie said, go out and do something else, it leaves your mind free to just wander, basically. And that has helped so much, because there's been stories where I'm like, I don't know how to move forward, or like I'll look at it and I'm like, I actually had one of these moments the other day. I was thinking about one of my stories and I was like, I know there's something wrong with it. I can't tell what is wrong with it. And while I was working, all of a sudden I realized exactly what was wrong with it. I don't know how to fix it yet, but at least now I know what's wrong with it in order to start fixing it. And that helps a lot. And it's also part of the reason I just decided recently to just skip around projects as I work on them instead of trying to focus on a particular one, is so that I have that option as I think of things to work on them. And then when I get stuck, I can just switch projects.
Nice. The only other thing that I want to add is your brain and imagination are set up kind of on a time wheel. That's the only way I can kind of look at it. So it's a lot of trial and error, but just kind of figure out what time of day after work your brain is engaged in creativity. So like me, whenever I was working the retail job, I would have to come home and I would have to have about 30 minutes of just sitting there, maybe watching a TV show, playing a game on my phone or something like that. And then I was able to go in here in the office and actually write. But then I could only write for about an hour. And I used to get really mad at myself for just being able to write an hour. And that would kill my creativity even more. But I started doing social media posts after that hour, planning them and scheduling them. I was still doing the thing. It was just a different part of the thing.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can do some trial and error and figure out, you know, when your brain's most creative in the time frame that you have to write, and do the writing then, and then just do all the other stuff around it. Does that make sense?
And if I can piggyback off of that, when you're talking about making social media stuff, and that helps keep you in it, but also out of it, that is huge for me, because a lot of times what I'll do is I'll make aesthetics, or I will make a video that is geared toward a specific scene in that book or something like that. So it's literally still in that subject matter. And then I'll toss it up on TikTok or whatever. And it gets really good views and people are, hyped about the project. But at the same time, it took me out of the actual writing and revising part, which is helpful for my brain.
Right.
And it's not like you kind of said, and multiple of you alluded to, you're not completely disconnected from the world. You're just, it feels like you're dragging your body into it as much as your brain, I guess.
Yeah. It's heavy. Eva says this: I work in silence if I find that I'm struggling to work at all. Sometimes the perceived comparisons and demands of productivity can exhaust her. So therein again, sometimes you have to do, like I just did a post on touchstones. Sometimes you have to have certain things around you in order to trigger your brain into, oh, this is writing time. Like I have to have coffee and a bottle of water and my HP90 planner over here and my cards and dice. And that triggers my brain and going, hey, it's time to work. Okay. So yeah. And therein again, if you do social media posts, sometimes that can be like, oh, that's what I need. It makes something up, makes your imagination work on it whenever you're working with visuals, to where you can go back to your writing and be like, hey, I just had this moment.
Well, non-writing creativity for a project or for a separate project, this is almost a form of self-care, because it allows you to look at the project from a different angle. If you are stuck and you're just like, I can't even do this. I can't see this monster. I can't see how this fight scene goes. I can't see how this character looks. Taking that time, I mean, I have to avoid Pinterest because it is my time suck rabbit hole. I like, ooh, look at that. And then, oh, it's like 8 hours later. My butt hurts. I have to pee and I got to go feed the dogs.
And somehow you lost 8 hours. Like, oh, where'd
yeah,
time go?
It's just, it's, people talk about doom scrolling, and I've never been one for doom scrolling, but I will pin scroll until my little finger falls off. But we need to give ourselves this, there is the almighty God of productivity. And in the writers community, there is this thing that if you're not writing, you're not being productive. And there is so much more to the writing life than just writing. So, it's self-care to give yourself permission to do these other things, to go and do these other tasks. If you want to create an aesthetic for a specific chapter, do that. If it helps you with that chapter, then do it. I am a very auditory person. I listen to a lot of music, and I literally have playlists of music videos for characters, for planets, for series, and it's everyone, like that Sam was saying, you need to find that place where your creativity is best. For me, for years, it was 5 a.m. Writers Club. I was always here, 5 o'clock in the morning, Mountain Time, with the stream, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. And my migraines hit, and suddenly I can't get up at 5 o'clock in the morning anymore because my brain is like, oh, no, you don't. And so if there is something limiting you, don't blame yourself. Don't be like, oh, I'm such a failure because I don't do this anymore. No, because this mindset, this negativity mindset you get in that I'm only doing this much, or I can't do as much as others, or I can't get this done. This actually will build a wall of bricks out of your uncertainty between you and your project. And it's completely subconscious, but you're doing it. And it's just because, sadly, and this is the way of our society, all of us here, all of us out there watching, we have all grown up in this world full of nope. Everything is all the nope. And that the nope voice still lives in us. And we just have to learn not to listen to it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even think it's a thing of uncertainty. I think it's like what you're saying. I think it's a comparison. Like, well, this offer doing X, Y, and Z and a million things at one time. Why can't I be that way? But I need to not do that because, you know, like you're saying that, you know, there's only so much you can do. And I feel like you have to embrace what you can do.
Right. Right. Eva, we have our stuff together more than we think we do because we are our own worst enemies, period. So give yourself some slack. And a lot of times that will loosen you up enough to where you'll start believing in yourself more. And therefore, the work will be done. I mean, it flows. It comes. It just be easy on yourself. Okay. Anybody else up on screen? Nicole?
So for me, it's going back to work on stuff when your technology gives you the giant no finger. And by that, I mean, like, you know, you have your stuff saved in 5 different spots. You can't find it, or it's just lost forever. And you have to restart from scratch.
I told you to start emailing yourself stuff.
I know. I still can't. It still doesn't do me.
I feel this. It's like all my stuff looks like it's really good and organized. And then there's that one scene that I know I just worked on last week. And I'm like, but where did I tuck it? Where did it go?
No,
And
it's not that. It's not. Like, I save it on the computer, I send it to an email, save on the flash drive, have another copy on my phone, and they're all done. Or they're corrupted.
Because technology hates you.
Yes.
tech gremlins.
I've had tech issues. I had a laptop blow up and eat 3 months worth of work because I was backing it up on a terabyte drive and was not aware there was a bad sector on the terabyte drive, and everything saved as X's. The documents were there, but it was just the characters all saved as X's. And so I had 3 months worth of work that was just gone. And it was editing, it was writing, and I had my notes because I do paper and I do digital. I'm one of those people who does both types. But I was like, I knew this was, where's that scene? I knew it was such a good scene. And because I have memory issues, I can't remember what I wrote unless I've gone through and read it like 5 or 6 times. Because fun fact, experiential memory stores in a different place than rote memory. So the things you read and memorize are actually in a different part of your brain. So when I'm writing something, I have to go back and read what I just wrote. Like every single day, I have to read what I wrote the day before, the week before, until it gets stored up here.
I mean, I feel like I'm like that too, but I just have terrible memory. So,
but it's the thing with technology is trying to get things out into technology. Sometimes that becomes an issue. If you're having trouble writing with your fingertips, switch to handwriting, switch to a notebook, switch to dictation. I mean, yeah, you got to go back and fix all the dictation things later because dictation creates weird documents. But you're still getting the story out. There is more than one way to produce the written word. And don't be afraid to go off and use these other technologies to try to create things. And it's like I keep things stored because I did literally, I had, when I was publishing Pagosa Cliffs, the second book in the series is called The Wild and Enemy. And I had written scenes through the whole first trilogy about the main character, Millie, getting therapy. And then I had an editor who didn't believe in therapy. And she was like, take all these scenes out and let's see what. And so when I got the new editor and I was putting them out, I was reading the copy and I was like, wait a minute. There's a scene missing. There's a scene where she talked to her therapist. There's this. And it turned out that I had 11 sentences that I had pulled from The Wild and Enemy in reference to this. And I ended up going back to a 3-year-old printed copy to find this. So sometimes you can find it, sometimes you can't. If you can't find it, and I have goats, and one time they broke in the house.
Oh no.
And when I came in, we got home from town, the goats had broken into the back door and of the house. They'd gotten out of their pen, got in the house, and just trashed the house.
Oh no.
And they ate one of my notebooks that I had not typed in yet. So honestly, I think the scenes I created after they ate those scenes and pooped them out were actually better. So don't be afraid to rewrite them, because just because you think they're fine, they might have been poop or literal goat poop. And, you can always rewrite something. Don't get hung up on a lost scene to the point that it stops your forward progress.
I know accessibility has a lot to do with which technologies that you have to use. So I know that that's kind of an issue, because when you save to different things and it's not accessible to you, you still just can't get it. So maybe Otter is accessible. I'm not sure, but there's another option for you, and maybe it'll upload and save better than some of the other tactics. I don't know. Let me see if I can find it.
Educate us, Sam, on what it is. I've never heard of it.
Okay, so Otter AI is a meeting note taker and real-time AI transcription. Now, my only fear with that is it's got AI with it.
It does not. Let me pause, because some of my students in past years have used it. You got to look really closely at their copyright clauses as a creator. I will say that.
Gotcha.
A lot of people in education are using this right now. It is a great tool. However, you need to see, as a creative producer of content in books and social media, whether or not they can claim any ownership of your stuff. That is true with any AI entity.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only other thing I can say to that is maybe ask around to see what other products like all of us use, or like some people in the blind community, what they use. Just ask around and see what might work for you as an extra place to save all that stuff. Because I know I save mine to Google Docs, Word, Dropbox. I have 2 extra external drives, and they go on one of those. I used to do thumbnails, or not thumbnails.
Flash
drives.
Thank you. But those got corrupted more often than anything, so I just stopped using those.
Yeah.
And I have them saved on my phone too. And I've noticed that, especially with my phone, transferring them from the computer, like a Word doc, over to it's Samsung Notes on mine. There's some issues. It'll get corrupted a little bit or look corrupted a little bit. So, yeah, just ask around. That's my only best advice I can give you, I guess.
And this is for me, this is an open ask because since if y'all don't know, it's like I had to take a year off basically because of my eye. And since having the surgery, it goes in and out, and sometimes I'll start getting double vision or headaches. And so I can't write as quickly as my brain comes up with the stuff. So if you guys have any suggestions on that, please. I haven't tried using the voice to document yet, but I'm looking for suggestions because this isn't getting any better, even though the tumor is shrinking. The result, unfortunately, of radiation up here is not exactly good for the other stuff, even though it does shrink the tumor. So let me know if you've got suggestions, because I've got lots of stories to tell, but I can't get them out as efficiently as I used to.
Keep in mind for dictation, Microsoft Word has one built into it. However, Google has one built into Google Docs, and it pulls straight from the same. If you say, "Hey Google," and please don't kick off and search something. When you say, "Hey Google," and tell it, it has taken its database of all the different accents. It has studied through their search engine, and they now use it for their voice recording database, and it's more accurate than words.
Yeah, Google
wow.
Transcribe is actually, especially for those of us with a little bit of Southern, Google actually translates better than Word right now. There is Dragon Speak that will get you, that you can get. It is more expensive. However, you have to train Dragon Speak to understand you.
And even after
I
you
was
train
gonna
it,
say, if you it, like, the terabyte drives are expensive to have a secondary digital copy, but you can go get these SD cards for like $10, and you can put your entire series. I have multiples. You put your entire series on an SD card, throw it in a little box, put it away, and then you have a forever digital copy that is safe and protected and not like connected to the internet in any way.
Toshiba has a 2 tera external hard drive that is constantly on sale during the summer months. Approximately teachers, students, and whatnot are who they're targeting. I think if you have the $80 or whatever it is or lower to get it, it's worth it, especially if you're making videos for YouTube.
Yeah, it is worth every penny, I'm telling you. Terabyte drives have saved my life. But let's see.
And being in a habit of just making that weekly backup, monthly backup. I know it's like, oh, it's no. Do it. Make the backup,
because that's the other thing too. Like, you can buy one and then like not update it regularly, and then like that's when it crashes, and you're like, oh man.
Yeah, you've got to keep the habit. Just make it a habit, like brushing your teeth. The more you do it, the more habitual it becomes, and the more easier it is to remember to do it. You know, and it even says record yourself telling the story and try to describe at your own pace. That's an awesome way to do it, but it's also like, because I know you work with Dawn, maybe if you transcribe, she can transcribe a little bit for you too. I don't know her health wise, but maybe she can help out a little bit as well. I don't know.
She's got a full-time everything right now. So that's why I was like, I don't want to put something else on her plate if I can help it because of everything going on there. So, but yeah, if I can get her to do it, I can, she already does a lot of the of the character work. But yeah, I was wanting to also do it like in the idea of the future, because there are some books and stuff that I've got planned that are just wholly mine and not collaborative.
Gotcha. Well, whenever you get rich and famous, you can hire somebody to transcribe you. All right. Anything else for up here? We do have a couple in the chat, but anybody up here got anything else?
Speaking of ways to like save your stuff and the external hard drives, you guys mentioned emailing. One of the things I used to do when I was working at another job is that I would write during my lunch breaks there on their work computers. Don't recommend, by the way. But at the same time, what I would do is just copy and paste the text that I wrote that day directly into an email and send that to myself versus attaching a document. And that way, when I would send the email, the subject line would be like X story, chapter, whatever. And then the text would be right there in the email. So there was no chance of losing it because it would be in your sent file from the computer you sent it to or from, and then it would be in the inbox of whatever computer you sent it to. And that would help in that direction as well.
Right.
I mean, it's finding more time to write, so I don't see why that's a bad thing.
Depending on what company you work for, they have
Yeah.
rules about it, and they
Yeah.
are like, you cannot write on company time, on company computers, or whatever you create is ours is the big thing, and that was
Yeah.
the problem I ran into.
Whatever you create at the office is theirs. Another thing is, when I first started writing, when I edit, I needed to do a print copy to edit. You can literally set up on your Amazon. You can set up a thing like you're going to publish a printed book, but you just call it draft ... or something, and you just change the subtitle. You just put that in the book, and then when you make the cover of the book, you like put in here draft, this copy, this edition, and you can literally make yourself a pre-sale copy of the book, get it printed out. Getting a printed book from Amazon is actually $5 to $6, depending on what you're getting, depending on how many pages it is. And to have that actual physical copy to edit with, or to just keep as proof, this is my story, this is my book, can really help you. I mean, if you're like trying, because I get draft blindness when I get blocked, because I've read it so many times or had it read to me so many times. There are things that I don't see. There are things that I don't hear. And when I was working on the Ghost with Cats series, when I was working on book 3, I just hit this point and I'm like, I have no idea. I don't know where to go from here. I am literally in the muddy middle. Here is the big final scene I've already written. I have nothing to fill in this 150 pages. And I ended up printing it to reread it. And then I found this huge flaw earlier in the book that I was able to just twist it and take it out and then go ahead from there. But sometimes you just need to change medias to get past that block, and saving it, reading it in different formats, because the layout looks different. If you switch from reading it in Word to reading it in Google Docs, it looks different. Sometimes all you have to do is change the font. Go change the font of the entire document.
Mm-hmm.
Or change the voice that you are listening to it in. And that can get you past that. But don't be afraid to think outside of the box. You don't have to do everything in one place. And please, for the love of all that is holy, do not store everything in one place.
Yeah.
And to that, just one more thing was, and she mentioned it too, listening to it and reading it out loud. For me, that was something that I had never done until I started getting into the AuthorTube community, and I heard other people talk about it. that has helped tremendously. Like if I get into a point where I'm like, something's just not right here. I don't get it. And it's a block. So then I'm like, okay, well, let me go back to the first of the chapter. And then I start reading it out loud. And wherever I trip, I mark it. And then I go back and fix it. Then I go back and I'm like, oh, and a lot of times that'll just cause my brain to latch on to what's wrong. Why am I blocked here?
And to kind of go off what I was adding in chat, it's even a good, don't just rely on one voice to read it, because most of Word uses Microsoft Mark or whatever they call the female voice. Go to a completely different program and use theirs. Natural Readers is a good choice for even having it read in different accents. It is AI, heads up.
Sam, I think you're talking, but you're muted.
Okay, I still know.
So yeah, I need more coffee. I've said this a couple of times. I think we could probably do this once a week if y'all are game. I know time frame and stuff like that could be an issue, but yeah, we can make it once a week. We can trade out channels if we want to. Anyway, anybody else up on screen have a block, or do you want to go ahead and hit the chat?
Chat.
Chat.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So Eva says my block is mostly caused by diagnosis, like executive dysfunction. I don't know if I have had creative blocks. And she also continued with this right here. So it's not block, but a different phase of my life. I'm excited to get back into writing, but I don't feel bad for not. How do I start feeling bad for not? I need some of that.
Why do you have to feel bad? Why does there even have to be negativity attached to it? It's my automatic question.
Right.
Why are you making it a punishment when you want it to be a joy?
Right. That was my thing, because it's always the negativity that kills mine. So don't try to feel bad. Don't start feeling bad. It's just like you said, it is a phase in your life, and it's fine.
Please don't make it feel like work.
Yeah, that too.
Nobody wants that.
Oh, you mean editing?
I'm trying not to make that feel like work either.
Yeah, because when it's a chore, you don't want to do it.
Right.
Editing's not a chore so long as it's not my own stuff.
And I've caught myself
give all the editing stuff to Jenna. Got it.
Yeah. Like I tell my roommate all the time, because she's known to just come in and stand at my door, and I have to leave the door open so the dogs can come in and out. But she'll stand at my door, and I'm like, dude, office hours. This is my work. Stop. Go away.
Well, Eva says, that's exactly my issue. It isn't work. I don't need an income, but I do want the discipline.
So you want motivation.
Yeah.
It's the only, like, one of my things, like with the 5 a.m. Writers Club, is I had that hard time. I set that hard time for me to write. 2 hours and hour and a half, 2 hours in the morning before I had to get the kids out to school. Guess what? All my kids are graduated now. Then I got migraines. So there's that. And so now it's like, I always try like between 10 and 12 now to be somewhere writing. And whether I'm on stream, like modding Jules's The Dawdling Writer streams, or lurking around like in the background in the afternoon of Rachel's streams or Jillian's streams, chatting and writing, finding this, saying that, okay, on this day, I'm going to write at this time, and scheduling yourself. But you also have to make allowances. Life happens. So that's a thing. But developing a discipline to write is super easy for me because OCD goal brain must finish the project, must finish. And so it's for people who are more like loose and free. Like my brother had ADHD and he jumps all over everything when he was working on stuff. But he would set down, I have to get this much accomplished on something. He didn't set a task, but he would say on something. And maybe you're project jumping, maybe you're the drunken jackrabbit sucking on a cactus under a full moon, project hopping. But that's still productivity. You're still getting the writing done. You're still getting the words done. Mm-hmm. So having the ability to shift, it's not, I mean, some people like, what was it? The last 2 nanos, instead of doing word counts, I did sprint counts.
Mm-hmm. It's accountability too. Yeah.
Do the number of sprints. I need to get 3 writing sprints in today. I need to get so many pages edited today. There are all kinds of ways to trick yourself into a discipline so that you are still working toward your writer thing, the thing you enjoy, but you're also, getting stuff done. Shh, don't tell myself that. Enjoying it, being happy, working on what you want, working on what you love. That is the thing. You do not want your writing to become a slog. Because Skye can tell you some stories about when writing becomes a slog and she's like plotting, murdering people.
I mean, they are bad people. They deserve to die. I'm just saying. Okay? But hopping on to that, setting up stuff, like you all mentioned stuff you have to have like on your desk or around you in order to start writing. In Eva's case, Eva hops around all different kinds of streams. So maybe an idea is to pick someone that like you're usually, when they start sprinting, you are creative during their streams. And this is someone who like does regular streams. When they start streaming, that is your time to work on stuff and just build a trigger for yourself that when that happens, it kickstarts everything else. And because that's what's helped me too, is because I stopped streaming for a while because I didn't have the time for it. But I also noticed that when I didn't have the time for it, I wasn't getting anything done. And now that I'm streaming again, that triggers my brain. Hey, it's time to do some creative work. Let's do some things. And I'm getting more done now than when I stopped. And so building that trigger in definitely helps. See, there we go.
Go ahead, Nick.
Like you were saying, you could also try doing a dual set where you'd say, I write 1,000 words, here's a small reward of reading a chapter of my favorite book, or going to watch my cartoon or show for 20 minutes, and do it that way, having a reward set for goals.
I have this problem too. So I am a true Aquarius. That's what I'm going to blame it on.
I hear an excuse.
My mom and dad were both Aquariuses, and then they had me. So I can set a schedule, and it works awesome for like 2 weeks. And then that 3rd week is like, me.
Right.
So with
or you could like cut up a schedule and not follow it at all, like me.
But you know this. But you know you do this.
Yeah.
So what you do at the beginning of like a quarter is you're like, I'm going to do this for these 2 weeks, and this for these 2 weeks, and this for and you just, and it's like, who is it? Stephanie. What is her last name? Qwerty. Everybody knows her. She's got the little mambo parrot on her shoulder or on her head or flying around the background all the time. She has a spinner wheel, and she will spin for what she's doing in the sprint, and then she rolls D&D dice for how long that sprint will be. And sometimes it's a 17-minute sprint, and sometimes it's a 49-minute sprint.
Oh God.
And the spinner wheel tells her what she's doing.
That would drive me insane. I'm just
She's
saying.
giving herself
I know
a
you're
Nicole
too,
Potter to
or
figure it out.
you and I are too organized to do it. I mean, I love the long sprints, but I usually stay on the same task I am. But she needs to be able to jump around. And so that rotating focus of attention, you're still working. You're still getting this project done or that project done or cleaning your kitchen sink during the time that is allotted, but it becomes focus time.
Mhm.
And that is a perfectly valid method for working
Yeah.
because everyone's like, oh, you're just all over the place. Am I? Because you're still getting the list of tasks done. You're just not going through it tick, 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 like me and Skye need to do.
Or just
So-
all organized chaos.
There can be a lot of freedom in just giving a chance to decide what you're working on for however long whatever sprint you're working on is.
So what I do, because I have to fluctuate so much in my schedule, because that's the way my brain works, is I write down everything that I need to do for the month, especially the deadlines. I break that down and that's it. I just write it down. Whenever I start working or whenever I'm here doing my art, I will begin on something that feels right at that moment, whether it's writing, whether it's editing, whether it's social media posts or whatever. When I have to get up to take a break, when I come back, I start on something else. That first thing is done. That's all I'm working on, that particular project for that day. And then as soon as that break ends, I'm back here and I do something else.
But when
So-
you come back, like you don't feel that need to go back to what you're working on.
No, I've trained myself to where I can't go back to what I'm working on. Like while I'm doing dishes or laundry or whatever it is that I had to get up and do, I'm already thinking on the next project that I'm going to start when I sit back down. So that has helped me a lot. But I also know that there are months in the year where that isn't even going to work, where it's bad. August, the month where mom passed, and February, her birthday month. I know those two are going to be impossible for me to even have any kind of scheduling done. So I just write when I can. Most of the time, those months are my break months. I give myself time to relax. I binge watch shows that I wanted to catch up on. I lose myself in a game that I bought 2 years ago and haven't yet to play. You know, you got to know yourself. You got to know your brain. You got to know your body. You got to know your spirit in order to work when you can. And that in and of itself will give yourself grace and you won't feel bad about it either. So, yeah.
Yeah, and don't feel guilty if you're drawn to like wanting to play a game or go on social media. Like, there's no point in trying to fight that and trying to write because then you'll be distracted. Just do it for a little bit, then you can write for a bit sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Habit stacking. Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
I didn't
All right.
know there was a name for it.
Yeah.
There you go.
I kind of knew because that's kind of where I got the idea to start and try to build off of it, but I forgot that was 10 years ago. So yeah. Let's see. And this in of itself, again, your health, if it does become your block, it's not necessarily a block. It's your body telling you, hey, you need to rest. Or, hey, we need to take care of ourselves so that whenever we do have good days, it's a good day. I have to tell my sister that all the time. She's got fibromyalgia and multiple sclerosis. Yeah. And she has always been self-loathing. I don't think she's said a kind word to herself in her entire life. So it's like, hey, you do what you got to do when you can. You got to stop the negativity, and we're getting there, maybe. But yeah, let's see. She knows what she's doing, not what it's called. Exactly. I don't need a label. I'm terrible with labels. I hate labels.
What are labels?
Right. Okay, and here is another one. Does accountability help? In which ways do you get this?
Accountability is different for everyone, and it should be. Your accountability for you should be as different as your fingerprint. And this is why. Holding yourself to someone else's level of accountability to what they consider to be accountable can become this very toxic, harmful thing. And you need to find the goal that works for you. And you need to divide it up in a way that works for you to accomplish it. I write 2,000 to 3,000 words a day. Skye blast out 8,000 to 10,000 words on a weekend.
Mm-hmm.
But we have prepared for this. We have done tons of work in the background that aren't seen. I have a friend in the UK. She writes 200 words a week. 200 immaculate words. And it took her over 10 years to get her first book out. That's her accountability. It works for her. She is successful at it. It makes her happy. Do not beat yourself up with someone else's productivity stick.
Yeah, I mean, like what I was saying earlier, that goes with like not comparing yourself to others, and I think it's hard within the YouTube like opportunity community to see others that are able to crank out like, you know, twice the amount that you can, but you have to know your own limitations.
And what works for you. Like, I know for me, my accountability is doing checklists. If I ever learn, it's something different, be doing coffee or doing stickers. Like, it's everyone has a different style and different way they do stuff.
Put a checklist out the window.
And adding on to that, the accountability, what works for you now might not work later. Because once upon a time, my accountability was that my husband would check in with me daily and said, "Hey, have you done your writing for the day? Have you knocked it out?" I'm lucky in that I have a really supportive family, both with my parents, my husband, and my kids. They're all like, "Hey, have you gotten your writing done for today?" And these days, our whole system has changed and other things have taken priority. So writing, that's part of the reason I decided writing is a hobby and not a career choice for me, myself. And one of the things that used to help back then is no longer helping now, because there might be other things that take priority and writing will just have to wait. And sometimes that just happens.
Just make sure that when you're using the word accountability, don't make that into comparison. That's huge for me. It was at first I was comparing myself to other writers and what they were getting done, and then I realized that's just not going to work. So just if you're holding yourself accountable, that's a good thing, but at the same time, don't make it into this vice that keeps control of everything, because like they said, health comes up, family things come up, things are going to go off the rails. It's life is chaos. So
we have 1,000 tornadoes by June 1st, which is 300 more than we normally get in an entire year.
Oh dear.
Yes.
And to add to
That's
that,
2024. 2024 is all about whether it's the weather or your writing or your work or your real life or your farm. The tornadoes are everywhere this year.
About next.
and to add to that, don't feel ashamed or disappointed if you don't meet what you set for a day, or if something comes up and you can't stick to what you originally planned. Don't hate yourself or say mean things to yourself just because you can't meet that item you had for today.
Yeah, I mark stuff down in my planner for like a to-do list for the day for each week. And if I get to it, great, I can mark it off. If I don't get to it, you know what? You can flip the planner to the next page and write that in for the next week.
There you go.
Don't be down on yourself because of that.
Sam, I think you're muted, honey.
What kept happening to her?
These dogs are killing me because they keep making sounds. So I mute myself and then, yeah, because I'm not used to muting myself. But, and don't compare yourself to your past self. I know that's a thing that a lot of health gurus and everything tell you to do so that you don't compare yourself to others. But if you do like a emotional or mood calculation every day, you can, if you need that kind of accountability, compare yourself to another day that had that same mood or health accountability. That's the only comparison that I found was a little bit healthy. But yeah, I think it's just best to get comparison out of the picture entirely. Okay, and we've got Jordan has a question. Okay, so NaNoWriMo, why are you so stressed to get everything done when you have the goal that you want to achieve? NaNoWriMo is a beast, and a lot of us set goals that are not good. They're not healthy and often unattainable. And that's the reason why a lot of us creatives are stressed during NaNoWriMo, because we set the unattainable for ourselves. Yeah.
Well, the thing with NaNoWriMo is and the camps is, or any writing challenge for that matter, the 7K books, the 85K 90, the August 80K, any writing challenge, editing challenge, anything you come across like that. We're in such a goal-driven society to finish the goal, do the task. You need to give yourself permission to not finish. You need to give yourself permission. And the one of the most important things I learned when I was really early on, it was like 3 years after my stroke. I started NaNoWriMo on a project. I made it 6 or 7 days in, the first week in, and I couldn't make the project work. And I just dumped it and changed projects because so setting your goal like that. The thing with NaNoWriMo is it was originally created to encourage writers, and to people who are naturally writers that created it. 50,000 words a month doesn't seem like a lot of words. But the majority of people only can write like 20,000 words a month or 30,000 words a month, 1,000 words a day. And so, and then through the twisting, turning, perversion that competitive AuthorTube, and I'm going to call that corner of AuthorTube competitive AuthorTube, because it's really taken on this toxic level of, well, if you can't finish 50K in a month, you're not a real writer. If you can't edit 50K in a month, you're not a real writer. No. If you have 10 more words on November 30th than you had on November 1st, you're a real writer. So the whole goal of these writing challenges are supposed to be to inspire you, are supposed to be to encourage you. The accountability is great for these things, but they're not meant to make you stress, lose confidence, or give up.
If they do any of those things, they don't belong as part of your writer process, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I really got to agree there with Mama Maggie. There's no such thing, kind of leading into the whole thing of you're only an author if you publish. Kiss my feet. Look at the definition of author and writer. Same thing. Neither of them require the word publication. Come at me, fellow author tubers. You're wrong.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give yourself permission to succeed, but in a way that you didn't picture. I really like that. So everybody needs to print this out and put it up on your wall somewhere.
Because because it's like you don't know. I for the last two nanos that I participated in, I was just like, okay, well, let's see what we do. And things happen. Didn't get my goal. But you know what I did find out was I figured out how to plan ahead of time better. I also figured out what twist that I needed to do in my next project, because I didn't realize what kind of twist I was going to make in this particular project until I was in the middle of it. And so those to me were, I mean, I didn't need to check off all those goals and badges and all that stuff. That was still a win for me.
Right. So this kind of piggybacks off of accountability right here. Do your book reviews or readership stats serve as accountability?
No, absolutely not.
Good.
Only if you choose for them to.
Yeah.
You have no control over what people are going to put in a review, and there are trolls out there too. So you've got like this 50-50 shot that's going to be a legitimate review, honestly. Also, your readership stats. I mean, I'm coming from, like, I see people do it all the time, especially when I was publishing to Vella. They were constantly, I mean, they look at those stats daily. That's a stressor. Why put yourself through that? Your mind is going to create how your mind creates, period. You know, you don't have any control over that. I don't know who the quote came from, but I know that there is one floating around out there that's like, you know, your success is greatly affected by luck. So don't stress this, okay?
Your goals and your self-worth and your accountability should be based on you and what only you can control, not anybody else. Because if you put it on somebody else, you're giving them the power. You're taking the power from you and giving it to them. Don't do that.
Accountability doesn't have to come with validation from anybody other than you.
Exactly.
And I learned the hard way, don't feel sad or disappointed if, you know, if what you're writing doesn't have a big following or a lot of people like to read it. Like for poetry, we learned that that's not as big as a follower reader group as like fan fiction or fantasy and stuff like that. But don't say it because, you know, now if you're reading it, makes you a bad writer, makes you like not as successful as other writers.
Somebody out there will like it.
Right.
Like Margaret said, you can control showing up.
Yep. Exactly.
You know?
Yep. All right. Sorry. Too many tabs. Okay. Not enough coffee.
I was gonna say, is that insight into your brain? Like all these tabs have been not enough caffeine.
That needs to be a shirt, Sam.
Yeah.
Too many tabs, not enough coffee.
I'm gonna write that down. But I counted yesterday. I have like 40 tabs open, and I need to clean them out badly.
40
But I
tabs?
use all of them throughout the day.
My computer would explode.
Like open.
No, I have 40, and the sad thing is I use each one at some point through my work day.
Wow.
Impressive.
I close all mine at the end of the day. I'm done for the day.
I need to start doing
Like,
that.
no more. No more.
There's a reason that my bookmarks bar looks like it does.
Yes.
My bookmarks bar is so disorganized, I can't even use it. That's another goal. Anyway, from author Thomas A. Hunt, I think sometimes, or at least for me, we forget why we started writing. It's something we enjoy. We stress about the business side, or I have to get this published on a deadline side of it. And I wanted to highlight that because this is important, especially to our own self-accountability, because if we base everything on deadlines, if we base everything on something else like readership or whatever, that is negativity, and it's compounding on each other. Each project that we do, each project that we may or may not complete, it just compounds that negativity. So remind yourself of the joy. You know, have your picture of you holding your first book that you published somewhere. Remind yourself of the joy, because that's why you started. That's why the world needs you, is because you need to share your joy.
Agreed. We started our writing because we were in hobby groups together, me and Dawn. And the hobby groups and the writing came from just kind of a need to get away from reality. We enjoyed each other's characters, and so we grew closer and we started trusting each other to the point that we took it offline instead of continuing a story in a group. The group was starting to implode, as happens sometimes. And so we took our characters and kept writing, but we had no plans to publish. We were doing it because it felt good, because it made us feel good, because we could take things that were going on outside of us and give them a good, happy ending instead of what reality sometimes gave us. And it's a de-stressor. And I believe that a lot of times business can creep in and not just make it negative, but also be part of the block that you have, because you're trying to make sure that it's something that is palatable for everybody instead of just your joy. But the thing is you have to also focus on your joy. That was the whole point of the writing to begin with.
Sam,
This
you
is
muted
another one
Sam.
that everybody needs to print out. I know, I noticed. I'm getting there. Don't ask.
Yeah, the practice of writing and the business of publishing are two very, very different things. Like the grinding, soul-killing death of marketing.
A rat hole no one will stay down.
What is this marketing you speak of? I don't know.
I don't know because I don't do it.
Same.
There's no such thing as marketing. It's a myth.
Marketing is for the dark selves to come out and take care of, and then let our light shine with the rest of it.
Yeah, and this all goes to Eva's question about social media holding us accountable. Nope.
Yeah, that was one of the other highlighted ones. Yeah, no.
The thing that you love? Never mind that.
The only accountability I have for social media is if I post at least once a week. That's it. That's all.
Social media,
Oh
I
my
would
gosh.
say no. Read
I haven't
stories,
updated
I
my-
would say yes.
I haven't updated my blog for like 4 months.
Wow.
I got the feels right there.
And I have a Substack too. I should probably update it.
Oh God.
Thanks for the reminder.
Hello, welcome to Procrastinators Anonymous.
All right, everybody take note of how long it's been since you updated the thing.
I've been doing really good with my social media. But that being said, part of the reason is because of the fact of accountability. I'm like, this is how I hold myself accountable. I tell you what I've accomplished this week with my Work in Progress Wednesdays.
There you go.
See, on the far side of the screen over there are the two ladies who always get their social media done.
Yeah.
It looks like I always do, but half the time it's not.
Okay, so part of the reason that I get social media done is because I see it as fun. It's one of those breaks, like stacking things. What are you stacking? Habits? Anyway,
Habit stacking.
habit stacking. Okay, so yeah, it's one of those, hey, I've written enough, I've revised enough, my brain is mush now, so let's move on to something that'll be fun. Oh, Canva. Okay, so I can make something, toss it on social media, and it's a break and it's fun. Also, you guys are rocking it with everything going on, so I'm constantly capturing images for different author tubers doing things and putting them up on social media to kind of advertise and boost that. And I count that too as my social media. So
Right.
I don't know if I would say that's accountability for me. That's more just a thing to do.
Hey, anything that brings you pleasure is self-care.
Right.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
it makes you happy, it feeds that little thing in you, then it's self-care. Procrastination, or procrastivity, as I like to call it, when you're being creative by procrastinating on doing what you should be doing, that's a form of self-care too.
Yeah.
The things that fill your well.
Celebrating other people's wins is a win too. So this is going to be the last little question because we've got to go. We've already been way over an hour.
It's 17 minutes over. It's fine.
But yeah, we'll do this next week. So everybody in the chat and everybody up here on the screen, think of some more stuff that you wanna do. But yes, last little question here. Does having a critique partner or reliable first reader hold you accountable?
This is why I need my Ream stories crew now, because if I didn't have them, they will hunt me down and be like, we haven't gotten a chapter for 3 days. Where's my chapter? Sorry, guys.
No, life hasn't gotten in the way. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So my first reader definitely holds me accountable because it's the husband. Yeah, I pointed in the right direction.
Somewhere over there.
Yeah, over there. But I don't really have a steady critique partner. Like I use Story Origin or yeah, let's not just think of names today. But I use those. Those are kind of like strangers. But he really holds me accountable. But it's mostly just me and my goals and what I want to accomplish and how I feel about the words that are pouring out on the page. That's my accountability.
See, for me, I started after my stroke, I started writing to relearn language. So it was my children that were holding me accountable. And then the other two, they got interested in like K-pop and stuff like that. So they like went off. But my middle was the one who was always has always been my accountability partner, who's always been Anne. when she went up in the Navy, you know, she'd be like sending, like, she'd have a bad week and she'd be like, yeah, Mom, next book, new chapters, need a distraction. And so it does, when you have someone waiting for a book, like there's books that I've published simply because I have one of my first readers on Wattpad. He's in Australia, and he and I became really good friends. And then he got really, really sick, and he's literally dying, waiting for an organ transplant. And there have been a couple of times that I have like grinded to get a book out because I wanted to make sure that that I could send him the copy of the printed book from the really rough draft that I had put on Wattpad or Inkit, so that, because his support and everything meant so much to me, I wanted to make sure that I could get that to him. And Eva, it's a literal deadline. And it's just like having someone on the outside that like wants your work can be a great motivator to keep you going.
What were you gonna say next?
I was like, for me, I don't really have a first reader. However, my printing channel was her because a lot of times we'll hear her talk about something we're working on or try to help each other get through like writer's blocks. And sometimes we like, hey, I need to work on this story. Where are you at with it? Like when we work with Hunted.
Being distracted by social media. Going down a rabbit hole.
Don't open Pinterest.
I'm accessible if that helps.
No, that's not even an issue. It's Instagram. It's like 30 hours later. Were you supposed to be writing? Yeah, I went on Instagram to look at something, and it's like, look, 3 hours have gone by.
Mine are my games. My whole day is like, don't do level.
Yeah. Set a timer for social media stuff and games. As soon as that timer goes off, go away.
Yeah, because I'll get lost in my game. I'll completely get lost in it.
I'm an all-day gamer. Once I start gaming, I'm not doing anything else.
There.
It only gets done once a month.
I know it's so bad because I lost the ability to game when I had my stroke because I can't keep myself alive in Minecraft anymore. Because my reaction time that doesn't happen.
Don't try Ark.
I will watch other people gaming. And I'm like, ooh, an entire playthrough of Tears of the Kingdom. Okay.
I don't hear this.
La. Yeah, no.
Yeah, if it's not gaming, it's YouTube. Watching gamers.
I have to stay off gamer streams on Twitch and YouTube. The only person, my friend Amy on Twitch, she's the only person that I will watch game on Twitch. Jorge, sometimes I will watch Jorge game, but I've had to like completely like step away from that because I miss gaming. I miss it so much. And I will watch other people play through another game for days.
I feel you. It's not a lot of new games are not very accessible. Like they're just too bright. So like, I don't know, YouTube. You're like, oh look, 10 hours by. Oh, well.
But then you have to watch them play the whole game. You can't just watch them play one level. You gotta watch them play the entire game.
Yeah.
Unless it's a chapter game and it's just one chapter game's out.
Oh no.
All right. So I'm going to let all of y'all do your outros, and we will be at this again next week. I'll let y'all know in the chat since everything is probably going to be Sunday again. Is that okay with y'all?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that works.
Cool. All right. Okay. We'll start backwards. Skye, you want to go, and then we'll put you on the spot.
Oh, so I'm first this time? Cool. Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Skye. I'm a fantasy author who typically writes paranormal romance under the name SD Hegyes, and this has been a great discussion. I have loved it. I didn't know what to expect from this, and I was just like, I'm just here, and it's been awesome.
Thank you again, Sam, for putting this together. I'm Jenna O'Malley. Look out for the Marin Annals coming to Kickstarter. All 5 books, plus some spin-offs, 4 of which are in print for the first time. And of course, Mama Maggie.
I am Mama Maggie Ward, independent author, stroke survivor, and I have books, so go to my Amazon page. I'm happy to be part of this series because breaking writer's block is a big thing. Overcoming imposter syndrome is a big thing. Not letting the toxic side of writer life and author tube ruin this dream, this love that we all share for words and sharing stories means so much to me. And I think that just everyone needs to just love your words and love yourselves.
Oh.
Nicole and Lauren?
Yep. I'll do this time. You do the opening one.
Okay.
So we are the Writing Sisters. We also have a second YouTube channel called Luna's Mestal Lights. You can find our books on Amazon or on Audible. And this was a good idea because writers or any type of creator will have this problem where you question your ability or you wondering if what you're doing is worth it or not.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of good points were brought up today because I think sometimes either you get in your own way or you let others get in your head and then you question if what you're writing is good enough. But Maggie said it the best, like you should love what you're writing and try to find joy in it.
Sam?
Okay, so
Yeah.
I'm Rachel, Rachel
Very-
D. Adams, and I write both nonfiction and fiction. The Dragon Tasker series is my first series. It's urban fantasy mixed with paranormal romance, and I have a prequel series also coming out simultaneously.
Ooh.
We have, I also have aggressively helpful writing advice over on Substack and also kind of a mixture on Medium of writing advice. So I love doing these panels because there's so much support and I generally learn something every single time I'm part of one. So I want to thank everybody for pitching in and teaching me. And I hope that we can all continue to do this and boost each other as we go.
I appreciate that. I appreciate all of y'all joining me up here and supporting me in this way. And I'm hoping that, like Rachel said, y'all found support and answers to your questions. And I want this to be a safe space, and I want this to be a helpful space too. So yeah. I'm Sam. For those of you that might not know, I'm a writer of romantasy or fantasy with romance. And I have most of my finished books up on Ream. The link should be down below. I know I'm missing Skye's links, but that will be rectified here in just a minute. But everybody else's links are down below. So make sure to check them out, subscribe, friend, like, everything, all that good stuff. And we will see you next week for another Breaking the Block.
Yay!
Y'all have a good weekend. Bye.